Ma'am? Respected experts, my guide for my PhD, Dr. Daigamani sir, respected faculty from electrical department, and all my dear friends. I am Ms. Shilpa Shravani, and the title of my research is Hybrid Intelligence Approach for Optimal Reactive Power Dispatch. Now the flow of my presentation would be that contains here the introduction, then basic issues of this ORPD, then the phases of my research work, followed by the objectives, literature survey, then mathematical modeling of the various FACTS devices, followed by the simulation results, and finally the proposed ORPD algorithm and its results using MATLAB simulation. Now basically the electrical power system comprises of three subsystems, which are generation, distribution and transmission. The consumer should be always supplied with the uninterrupted power supply in order to cope up with the drastically increased demands that have been arise due to the urbanization and industrialization in the current day. In order to cope up with this increased demand, the erection of this new transmission system is required. But now here the erection of the new transmission system is related to the problems due to the environmental issues and the cost. So in order to avoid this, the existing system has to be optimally utilized to its maximum efficiency, and this is achieved by reducing this transmission losses and also by maintaining the voltages at various buses constant. Now when the loads onto the various buses increase or vary, because of this the voltages at the buses also change, and it also results into the increase in the losses. So this is the main motive of the optimal reactive power dispatch, to minimize the transmission losses by maintaining the voltages at various buses constant. Now what is OPF? So optimal power flow basically deals with the control of the impedances, then angle, and at the same time power flow through the transmission, through the complete power system by controlling the various control parameters and control parameters of the various variables. Now here also its main objective is to reduce the production cost, and in order to achieve this, here we say that the ORPD is the subpart of this optimal power flow. Because when we say the new erection has to be eliminated, so ultimately we are reducing the cost of production. So these are the main, here we can say the motives of this ORPD, that is to minimize the transmission loss and to control the voltage profile at various buses. Now the basic issues of the optimal reactive power dispatch. The first one is the energy consumption. Now we say that when here the various loads have been load have been increased, so it again leads to the energy consumption. Then in order to supply this additional load, we need to have the resources which are limited. Then here we say in order to supply this, or in order to inject, we say the ORPD injects basically the reactive power into the existing system, and in order to inject this reactive power, we need the various compensating devices. Now there are conventional compensating devices and the developed one, which are nothing but the FACTS devices. Then here we say the elimination of the excessive adjustment of the reactive power sources. When we play with this reactive power sources, basically its control that may also lead to the we can say the voltage collapse, or it may also lead to the stability of the system. ORPD basically has a very important role in the security and stability of the power system. So in order to deal with this security, we have to have the elimination of this excessive adjustment of these reactive power sources. Yeah, the phases of my research work. Basically I have categorized, or there have been the three phases of my research work. The first one is the problems and the solution to the transmission system operation for variable load. Now already we have seen the problems are nothing but the transmission loss increase, and the other one is nothing but the voltage degradation. And the solution is nothing but to control this control this power, or to finally control the various parameters such that the power flow through the system can be controlled. Now next, in order to do this, we say in earlier days, various gradient based methods of optimization were used to solve this ORPD problem. But this ORPD being a multimodal, non-linear and a mixed integer problem, it faces very local convergence when it is subjected to these gradient based methods. Also, many assumptions have to be done, or many mathematical assumptions have to be done when we apply these conventional methods. So it leads to the elimination of these conventional or the gradient based methods. So here the implementation of this artificial intelligence computation techniques have to be used. Here now we say that here again when we use the various computational techniques, here I have chosen genetic algorithm and the particle swarm optimization. So here we say that when we have to deal with this ORPD, when the number of variables are very much, and at the same time the variables also have got the various complex data, in such case the single phase optimization won't be sufficient. So here we are using the hybrid combination of the two techniques for getting this optimized results of this ORPD. So here I have made use of this GA. Now GA is very, we can say it has got the efficiency to deal with the system with a very vast data and various multiple solutions. But it has got a limitation of local convergence when the system is a non-linear and it has got a multiple number of, or we can say the complex data. So this drawback has been eliminated with the help of this PSO. The particle swarm optimization, its beauty is that its code is very small and very easy to optimize the system. By also, we say that it reduces the computation time, because it has to find the velocities in up and down direction, and by having only the small code of this velocity, we can optimize the system very easily. Yeah. The objectives of my research work. So to carry out this, first one is the modeling of this TCSC has been done, that is thyristor control series capacitor, and its performance has been observed using Power World Simulator. Second one is the modeling of the fixed capacitor thyristor control reactor, which is nothing but the SVC, and its UPFC for the reactive power compensation, and its performance using MATLAB Simulink environment. The second objective is the implementation of the conventional method of power flow analysis using MATLAB. Then the study of this artificial techniques such as the genetic algorithm, particle swarm optimization and the ant colony optimization. Then using this genetic algorithm, I have just found out the power flow analysis using MATLAB. Followed by the third objective is the implementation of this ORPD algorithm onto the standard test systems. I have chosen IEEE 14 bus system and IEEE 30 bus system. So the first one is using GA approach, second one is using PSO, and finally here because the proposed implementation is nothing but the two-phase algorithm, so here I have made use of this hybrid combination of this GA and PSO onto the standard test systems and compared the results that are obtained in the objective 3. Yeah. Now here to carry out this research, I have just referred this basic papers. So here into this paper, the author has used the advanced UPFC, who is a combination of TCSC and SVC. But here, and using this paper, I have come to the conclusion that here UPFC can be found out to be the best suitable versatile FACTS technology device to control the power flow through the transmission system. It is highly efficient to reduce the transmission losses, maintain the voltages at the various buses constant, and it also helps in security and stability of the power system. Yeah. Next is here, using this paper, basically it is again a two-level operation has been used. So using this again we can say that because ORPD being having multiple variables, so when the number of variables are very vast, in such case the optimization process becomes slow. So in order to improve or fasten the speed of calculation, we are using the two-phase or two-level optimization. So the two-stage implementation gives the better results as compared to that of the single-phase operation. And in single-phase operation, the number of system parameters considered are to find this solution are unique, and optimal solution becomes difficult. The third one is The third one is many of the researchers have used the conventional technique and in combination with the artificial intelligence. I have made use of the JA and PSO. These two approaches have been used to optimize the ORPD results. Yeah. So next is here, the first step is the TCSC. The TCSC basically belongs to the series connected fax technology. It is a combination of the TCR connected in parallel with that of the capacitor. By controlling the firing angle of this TCR and by also controlling the value of this capacitance, basically it's the value of the equivalent impedance of this TCSC and its phase angle can be controlled to control the power flow. So using this TCSC, I have used the Power World simulator. System data is given like it comprises of the 3 buses. Here, one slack bus, PQ bus and the PV bus. The data for this system is given like the voltage angle, P and Q, these values have been given. And also the line data is given having the resistance and impedance, resistance and the shunt susceptance has been connected, they have been given. So using this Power World simulator, I have simulated this 3 bus system and I have found out with the system that without this implementation of the system, TCSC into the system, the various values of this Pij, within the line from bus number, within the line which is connected in between bus 1 and bus 3, the value of the real power that has been found out to be 40.3, reactive power has been found out to be 20.3, whereas that of the losses through this line, they have been found out to be 0.21 and 0.62 MVR respectively. And the total system loss has been found out to be 20.7 real power loss and the reactive power loss being the 41.6. Now the same system, when the TCSC has been implemented, once I have considered this inductive, the TCSC's nature to be inductive in nature and next is its impedance to be capacitive in nature, by substituting the or by implementing this in the line in between bus number 2 and 3, the various values of this V, delta P and Q, these values have been found out to be as given in this table, where we say that at the bus number 2, the voltage and the angle are given to be 0.9171 at an angle of this, but using this TCSC to be inductive in nature, its value becomes, the voltage becomes 0.9085 at an angle of minus 3 point this, and with this capacitive value of this TCSC, the voltage and angle become having to be 0.9267 at an angle of minus 2.35. Yeah, these are the various values of the real and the reactive power through the line connected in between bus 1, bus 3, bus 1 and bus 2 and bus 2 and bus 3 respectively, with the inductive behavior of the TCSC and with the capacitive behavior of that of the TCSC. So it has been found out that the real power through the line which is connected in between bus 1 and bus 3 has been 15.1 using the inductive, whereas it becomes 70.3 when we consider the capacitive behavior of that of the TCSC. And the real power losses through this line number 1 and 3 has been found out to be 0.06, whereas the same has been using the capacitive reactance has been found out to be 0.54 and analogous to that of the reactive power losses. So the total system loss that becomes using the inductive, it becomes 21.5 and that with the capacitive it becomes 20.5. So when we compare the operation of this system with and without TCSC, it has been found out that when we do not include this TCSC into the system, the total transmission loss is 20.7 and 41.6. The same with the inductive reactance of this has been equal to 21.5 and that of the 50.5, which is reduced to that of the 20.5 and 31.4. Yeah. Next is here, I have just considered the Simulink operation. For this, I have chosen one single phase, the performance has been done on the single phase basis. I have chosen a source of 11 kV at, with the internal impedance of 5.5 plus J0.02 ohms, and it is connected in series with the distributed transmission line having the resistance of 0.01 per kilometer and the inductance of 0.46 henries per kilometer. The load has been considered is 1 plus J02 these many ohms, and now when this system has been simulated using Simulink, the value of this real and the reactive power that has been supplied to that of the load has been found out to be this is the waveform for the real and the reactive power that has been supplied to that of the load. So the value of this real power, that is equal to 10 into 10 raised to 5, whereas that of the reactive power that has been found out to be 4.4 into 10 raised to power 5. These many kilowatt and these many kVAr. Now next is here the SVC as a FCTCR has been considered. Basically there are two models of this FCTCR. One is the firing angle model and the second one is the susceptance model. I have chosen the firing angle model, whose reactance can be given using this formula. So basically it is the firing angle model. It is a combination of the capacitor connected in parallel with that of the TCR. So here, once the value of this fixed capacitor is maintained constant and the firing angle of this TCR has been changed, and simultaneously the firing angle of this TCR has been maintained constant and the value of this fixed capacitor has been changed. And using this, the simulation is carried out using Simulink. So this is the circuit using the FCTCR, where I have chosen one fixed capacitor and that of the TCR connected in series with the inductor. So the results have been found that here, using this FCTCR with the capacitance having the value to be 450 microfarad and the firing angle alpha to be 90 degree, the value of the real power that has been found out to be 2.2 into 10 raised to 6, whereas that of the reactive power that has been found approaching 1 into 10 raised to power 6, these many MVAr. The same results when the value of this capacitance is changed to 350 microfarad, angle being equal to 90 degree. The values have been found out to be 2 into 10 raised to 6 and the reactive power that has been equal to approximately 0.9 into 10 raised to 6, these many MVAr. So these are the results for the variable value of the capacitor keeping the firing angle same for alpha equal to 30. Next is the value of this capacitor has been maintained constant and the value of the firing angle has been changed. So it has been observed that the real power that changes to 17 into 10 raised to power 5, these many watt, and that of the reactive power that has been changed to that of the 8 into 10 raised to power 5, these many VAR. So this is for when the firing angle has been made equal to 90 and the capacitance being equal to 250. So this is the tabular representation of the results when the FCTCR keeping this alpha constant and variable value of the C, and the second one is when keeping the capacitance equal to 250 microfarad and the alpha has been varied. So it has been observed that when the values of this capacitance are varied from 250 up to 550 microfarad, the real power that varies from 1.403 up to the 1.335, and likewise the reactive power also varies from 0.799 these many MVAr to that of the 0.940 to these many MVAr. When we keep the value of the capacitance constant and vary the firing angle from 30 degree to 60 degree, the value of the real and the reactive power has been tabulated, and the results are 1.161 up to 1.209, and the value of the reactive power that has been in 0.6072 up to 0.6278. Next is the third FACTS device, that has been the UPFC. Basically UPFC belongs to the series shunt connected FACTS family. It either can be connected at the sending end or at the receiving end or at the middle of the transmission line. When it has been connected at the sending end, it is basically to control the voltage. When it has been connected at the receiving end, it basically controls the power flow. And when we connect it at the middle, basically it's a series converter that it draws the current of the series converter injects the voltage of VC at an angle of phi, and the shunt converter that draws a current of IC at an angle of beta. So for my analysis, I have chosen the 2 voltage source model of this UPFC, and here one fictitious node has been introduced with respect to that of the voltage at the ith bus. So with respect to this voltage at the ith bus, let us say this series voltage source has got the voltage that has been given at this fictitious node as Vi dash, whose magnitude can be controlled by controlling the one constant, that is the magnitude constant, and one is the phase angle constant. So R and gamma, these values, these are the 2 parameters by controlling which the value of this this fictitious node voltage can be controlled, and by controlling this, basically we are controlling the power flow through this transmission line. So So for this analysis, I just again said that using the Simulink, I have just have got this Simulink model where let us say the shunt current source I have considered and the series voltage source I have considered. Again here simultaneously varying the value of this voltage source, keeping this current source steady, and then varying the values of this varying the values of this voltage source simultaneously. These two parameters, keeping one constant and the other, has been varied, and the results for the real and the reactive power found at the load has been have been obtained. So these are the results with the shunt voltage, and that with that of the shunt current. The same thing have been tabulated using the results of the Simulink, where it shows that when the value of this resistance of the shunt current source is equal to 500 ohms and that of the current equal to 100 ampere, the V and the varying phi SCR of the series voltage source is made equal to basically it should be 11 kV. By mistake 0 has been not there. So the values of this firing angle of this series voltage source have been changed from 0 to 210, and for this the real and the reactive power at the load that has been found to be varying from 1.144 up to 0.794, and analogous to this the results for the reactive power at the load, they have been found out to be 0.5717 up to 0.3842. Now next is here, by here keeping this shunt current magnitude constant, the value of this series voltage source to be 0, and by varying the value of the resistance of this shunt current source, here the respective results for the P and Q have been found out for the value of variation of this RSH from 20 ohms to that of the 500 ohms. And analogously, the results for this keeping this RSH steady, the V series voltage source to be 0, and by changing the magnitude of this current source, again from 50 amperes to that of the 500 amperes, the values of this P and Q at the load side, they have been found out to be varying between 0.9424 up to 0.9588, and analogously 0.4711 up to 0.4801. Yeah, next is here to start with this computational technique using this artificial intelligence. The first one is a genetic algorithm. So basically genetic algorithm has got the 4 basic operations. They are the initialization of the generation, evaluation of the fitness, selection, crossover, and the mutation. The flow chart for this is here again the same, that we firstly initialize the population. Second one is find the fitness, then run the load flow. For this power flow analysis, we run the load flow and evaluate the fitness function. Then select the parameters for the reproduction of the new offsprings. Then here applying this crossover and mutation, again we refine the results of solution, and finally we find the convergence of the system. So this genetic algorithm has been applied for the same system that has been simulated using the PowerWorld simulator. So for this here, I have chosen 2 parents. Let us say the V2 delta 2 and delta 3, that is the voltage at the bus number 2 and its angle, and that of the angle at the bus number 3. Well, the bus number 2 being the PQ bus and the bus number 3 being the PV bus. So here we have got the 3 variables, they are V2, delta 2 and delta 3. So let us say their values have been 1.05, 3.56 and minus 6. And simultaneously for this the values of the second parent. Now when we do crossover means here we change any one value of the variable. Right? So that here delta 3, the earlier value was minus 6.6, now it has been made 11, and the value of this delta 3 who was 11, it has been made to be minus 6.6. This is what the crossover. Next is mutation, means we slightly change the magnitude of any one variable. So let us see earlier here the V2 was 1.22, it has been made to be 1.20, and rest of the things here is similar to that. The delta 2 also earlier who was minus 3.56, it has been made to be minus 3, and the value of this delta 2 has been made to be 3.56. So by mutation crossover, basically again we refine this optimization, we again find the new offsprings, and we again 10 new solutions have been found out. The best solution again are retained as being the first 2 only, and this process is continued till the system gets converged. So these are the results for the 5 different topologies of the same network. It has been observed that here, for example, if I consider the value of the delta 2, using the GS method for the topology 2, the value of this delta 2 was minus 2.35, and using the GA, it has observed to be minus 1.109. For the same, the fitness function using GS method is 0.0551. The same fitness has been improved to the other to 0.271. Yeah, so this is the what you can say the heart of my research work. That is the proposed algorithm. The proposed ORPD algorithm, it has got the objective function that has been given as the kx of u, that has been given as the loss. Again, being it is a multimodal, multi-objective function. So the objectives are the loss minimization, voltage deviation. Then here the real and the reactive power injected by the series voltage source of the UPFC, which has been subjected to the state variables and that of the control variables. They have been given to be PPV, VPV, and theta, and the voltage magnitude of the series voltage source. Yeah. So in order to have again it is a two-phase algorithm. Again, in the first phase we find the optimal location of this UPFC, and in the second phase we find the optimal sizing of this UPFC. So in order to select the optimal location of this UPFC, the sensitivity index has been used. Into my analysis, I have chosen this power loss sensitivity with respect to that of the variation in the voltage at the bus. So into the bus where this voltage variation is very large has been selected as the location of the UPFC. Yeah, so the proposed hybrid GAPSO algorithm that comprises of three objectives. First one is a power loss minimization, second one is a voltage control, and third one is a installation cost calculation. Now, to carry on with this proposed algorithm, various criteria have been implemented. So the first criteria is for the UPFC placement, second one is for its capacity calculation, third one is for decision for the various limitations onto the control variables for the proposed algorithm, and finally the cost calculation. So to find the optimal placement, basically the power loss has been considered to be the criteria to implement or to select the location of this UPFC. So here we say the system, the line which is heavily loaded, or the line with the maximum transmission loss, that stands for the location of this UPFC. Again, along with that we say that when the voltage at the particular bus is variation in the voltage at the particular bus is maximum, that selects the location of that of the UPFC. Second one is the criteria for the capacity calculation. So for the capacity calculation, I have considered the voltage deviation, which has been given as a difference of the V during the normal operation and V at the loaded condition. Third one is using this formula for this cost. The cost of the installation of this UPFC has been found out using this formula, where the S is a function or S is a variable that has been found out as a difference of the reactive power that has been flowing through the branch before the installation of the UPFC and after the installation of the UPFC. Yeah, the various decisions for the operating limits of these control variables. So the voltage at the PQ bus that has been that is supposed to lie between the minimum and maximum values of 0.95 to 1.05. The voltage at the PV bus, that is the generator bus, has been found out to lie, or it's supposed to lie between 0.96 to 1.06. Again here I have just made the limitation for the total system loss, that is supposed to vary between 10 to 12 per unit, and the value of this R and R1 and gamma, these are the constants used for the series voltage source. So they are supposed to lie between 0.01 to 0.02, and the gamma is supposed to vary between 0 to 2 pi. The total load, we say here I will be randomly changing the load on any of the load bus, so that load is supposed to vary between 2 to 7.5 megawatt based on the overload capacity. Then the generation at the generation bus, the real power generation at the generation bus is supposed to lie between 20 megawatt to 99 megawatt, and that of the reactive power generated, that has been supposed to lie between 0.2 to 2 per unit. This will be the hybrid PSO. This flowchart that comprise, again we say the first step is to create the initial agent for the searching point, then evaluate the searching point, then here again by the natural selection and evaluation of each agent, and modify the searching point. Let us say whether the system is, this is the simplest form of that flowchart representation of the hybrid PSO. Let us we say whether the iteration has been reached to the maximum or the system has been converged, we stop the iterations. Yeah. So hybrid GAPSO approach, it comprises of the two phases. I have already told that it's a two-phase. The first phase is the loss minimization and the second phase is voltage deviation control. So this loss minimization has been done using genetic algorithm, and the this voltage deviation has been carried out using the PSO. Yeah, so the two stopping criteria for the evaluation of this GAPSO is that here here when we say that this difference in between the PSH and the PSE is made equal to 0, so here it stands for that the number of iterations should stop. And for this, the here we can say the delta F that has been again it is a function of the state variables and that of the control variables delta G, which have been given to be like this. Yeah. Now the optimal solution using GAPSO. So first the generator bus, I have already told that the generator bus voltages are maintained 1 per unit and the tap position of the transformers are set to be equal to 0. Then the total active and the reactive loads, generator active reactive power loads and the network power losses are presented. Means here we first initialize the all values of this P, Q, V and delta at all the buses. We already defined the PGQG, we already defined the PD, QD at all these buses, and then we carry out this iterations using GA and that using that of the PSO. So it has been found out that the values of this voltages at the various buses, at the generator buses, they have been found out to be 0.925, then 0.9485, then 0.949 for the particular, they violating the limits, and the upper and the lower limits have already been specified. So in order to apply this, here there are 3 steps of this program. The first is when the iteration is equal to 1, it will execute for the normal load condition. When the case 2 is when the load has been increased on a particular load bus, and the third one is when we here second is without this UPFC, and the third one is when we implement this UPFC, again we find for this increased load condition what should be the solution of this optimal reactive power dispatch. Yeah. So in this case 3, the here using this function, the load value has been randomly changed from 200 to that is basically 2 to 20 megawatt. Then using this load value that has been crossover, right? Using this crossover value, again the mutation has been done again to get the more refined solution, and then to this here we perform the we just find the best loss into the total system loss using this mutation and the crossover. Yeah. So using this, we select the five buses with the maximum power loss in the descending order. Then we just find out that the line with the maximum power loss stands for the location of that of the UPFC. So once this selection of this location has been defined, then it comes to that of the capacity calculation. So this has been done using that of the PSO. Yeah. So these are the algorithmic steps of my ORPD algorithm. So first one is assign the system data for the load flow analysis, run the Newton-Raphson load flow for the normal load condition and get the solutions for all these variables. Then randomly generate a load value to be increased at any load bus which may vary between the 2 to 7 megawatt. Then here again run the load flow for this increased load condition and get the solution for this values at all the buses, or the respective values at all the buses. Then here select the 5 lines in the descending order of their loss, and using this now assign the maximum limit on chromosome population generation, generate the random load value vector and follow the crossover, perform the mutation, using this apply the sensitivity analysis for the location of this UPFC. Now here for the optimum capacity calculation we use the PSO. So generate the velocity vector, that is initial value have been equal to 0, and then random generation of this maximum values and the minimum values for the velocity. Next is again run the load flow, assign the new particle from the calculated one and get the 5 best particles, get the result from the first particle and its best among the 5 particles. Then calculate the PSO velocity. Using this PSO velocity vector, again get the best optimum voltage value using this PSO method. So once this optimum voltage has been obtained, then we just find out the capacity of this UPFC using the formula that is the real and the reactive power that can be injected at bus number I and bus number J using the 2 voltage equivalent source model of that of the UPFC. Yeah, so this is the flow chart of my proposed algorithm. Just as already I have defined this algorithmic steps. So first one is initialization of the system data. Second one is define the limits to all control variables. Next is find the Y-bus. Then once we find the Y-bus, set the iteration equal to 1 for the normal load flow condition and get the load flow solution. Next is make the iteration equal to 2 and increase the load on for this without any UPFC, increase the load on any one of the selected bus. Then here check that whether the surge impedance loading violation takes place. If it takes place, then decrease this load. Otherwise, you find out this delta PL. Delta PL, again I already told that it is the loss, the difference in the loss through the line before and after the injection of that, before and after the increase in that of the load. Whether this delta PL is less than epsilon, if it is yes, then here we have to directly switch over to that of this conversions. If not, then here we have to proceed for that of the genetic algorithm. So here it is iteration equal to 3 for the increased load with the GA implementation. Apply the sensitivity analysis, get the GA operators for the line flows. Next one is sort the 5 lines according to their maximum line losses. Is the line with the maximum loss? If it is, if the line is with the maximum loss, then here it stands for, if it is yes, then it stands for the selection of the location of the UPFC. Once we find this location, then here we find out that whether the voltage at the PQ bus and the PV bus at all the buses, whether it lies within the limit. If it exceeds the limit, then it has to be equated to its limiting value. Then here, next is here, once these control variables have been finalized, then here we apply the PSO operator for the voltage profile by selecting the UPFC parameters and find that whether the feasible solution has been obtained. If obtained, then directly go to the results, getting the results. If not, again we have to go again to the point number D into the earlier point. Then again run the load flow, get the power line through the values, and using this we basically get the power line that has to be injected at the bus number I and bus number J for the UPFC. So this is what the flow chart of my research work. Now next is here I have chosen the IEEE 14 bus system. The details of the IEEE 14 bus systems are as it comprises of the 2 PV buses, 1 slack bus, 11 PQ buses, 20 transmission lines, 3 tap changing transformers, 1 shunt capacitor, and the voltage, the UPFC 2 voltage source model with the variable values of this R and the gamma. So for this IEEE 14 bus system, the results have been found out to be the best voltage using this PSO. Then the values of the load angle delta at various buses, at the bus number. When I say the bus number 6. Bus number 6 has been subjected to the variable load condition. The line connected between the 6 and 12 bus is found out to be the optimum location for the location of the UPFC. So for this, here the increase in the load has been varied from this 3.73 up to 6.28. For this, the total system loss without this UPFC, they have been found out to be varying between 11.18 up to 11.44, which have been reduced to 9.1727 up to 9.7739 when we implement this UPFC. The cost of UPFC in US dollar per kVA, that has been given to be 1.88, 188.818, 189 point this, and so on for the various values of this load condition. And it gives the power that has to be injected at the bus number and bus number J using the power line. The values have been tabulated into this table. Yeah. Next is the 30 bus system. So for this 30 bus system, the data has been given. It comprises of the 5 PV buses, 1 slack bus, 24 PQ buses, 41 transmission line, 4 tap changing transformers, and again the UPFC R and the gamma that has been valid. Now when we consider the bus number 21, again here in the calculation it has been observed that bus number 21 and bus number 25, they are found out to be with the highest voltage sensitivity. So at bus number 21, when it is subjected to the variable load condition, the UPFC has been placed into the line in between bus number 6 and 7. So for this, when the increase in the load is 4.22 up to 6.89, the total loss without UPFC has been 11.23 up to 11.55, which is reduced to 9.75 up to 9.063 using that of the UPFC. And these are the various values of the power to be injected by the power line at bus number I and bus number J. The same results for the bus number 25. When the bus number 25 has been subjected to the variable load condition, again it has been observed that line number 6 and 7 is the most suitable for the location of this UPFC. Now here it has been found out that the losses without UPFC, they were 11.08, the same has been reduced to 9.83, and that of the so on. Yeah, so variation in the percentage reduction in the loss for the variable load at bus number 25 using GA. So here again I have used GA independently, I have used PSO independently, and finally the combination of the two to get the results at various, get the results for the variation in the load at bus number 21 and bus number 25. So it has been observed that when this increase in the load at bus number 25 is 3 to 5.55, the voltage during the load condition is 0.9901, 0.9784, 0.96. The same using GA has been, again we say we have to maintain the flat voltage profile. So these voltages have been set to 1.0215 and 1.0219. The angles have been found out to be this. The total system loss without UPFC has been tabulated like this, and which reduces to 10.34, 10.06 using this, that of the UPFC. When we find this percentage reduction, the percentage reduction has been found out to be 7.76% up to 12.64%. The same results using the PSO for the bus number 25 subjected to the variable load condition. These values have been found out to be, the percentage reduction in the loss has been found out to be 17.97 up to 10.57 for the various load conditions. And again the voltages using PSO that have also been found out to be 1.0396 up to 1.0217 and 1.0396 and so on. And finally, using the hybrid GA-PSO, the results have been found out that when the system is, when this bus number 25 is subjected to the variable load condition, again from 3 megawatt up to 5.5 megawatt, the total reduction in the percentage loss has been found out to be 20.32, 15.96, 20. This for the load to be 3 megawatt, then increased load to be 3 megawatt, 3.2 and 5.5 respectively. The various results for that of the voltage using GA-PSO have been tabulated like this, and the angles at the various for these various values have been found out to be 17.25 and 18.04 respectively. Yeah, so these are the results for when the bus number 21 has been subjected to the variable load condition using that of the GA. So we find just the performance of the variation in the loss at bus number 21 with GA. So it has been observed that when this loss has been during this increased load condition, and this losses have been reduced using the proposed algorithm using GA, these losses have been reduced to that of the approximately 9 megawatt. Total, in all total, the same would have been equal to the approximately 11.5 without implementation of the UPFC. Next one is when we apply the PSO, the same again the system losses that have been reduced to this 10.3 megawatt, which can be equal to again 11.5 without implementation of the UPFC. And finally, this GA-PSO, when we implement this hybrid GA-PSO approach, the result has been found out that the total system losses with the hybrid GA-PSO approach, that they have been reduced to approximately 8.6 to 8.7 megawatt, when the same would have been without the implementation of this UPFC, same would have been equal approximately equal to 11.4 megawatt. These are the this is the voltage profile at when the UPFC has been placed in the line number 6 and 7 for the bus number 21. It has been found out that these are the voltages during the normal load condition. Then the same voltages that they have been reduced to these values when it has been subjected to the increased load value, and the same that has been maintained or within a constant voltage profile within to vary between the defined value of these control voltages. So these values are set again within to lie within the limited value using the proposed algorithm. This gives the error function calculation for the placing this UPFC in the line number 6 and 7. Then this has been the power sensitivity. So it gives that the line which is connected in between the bus number 6 and 7, it stands for the maximum deviation in the voltage, and therefore it is the best suitable location for the UPFC. These are the plot of the power loss for all the transmission lines in the IEEE 30 bus system with the Newton-Raphson normal load flow condition, then with the increased load flow, and that using the proposed algorithm. So it indicates that using the proposed algorithm, the losses have been reduced to the minimum value that with respect to that of the without this implementation of the UPFC. And these are the, a random bus has been selected to show the loss. So this one is the loss using the normal load condition, this is with the increased load condition, and same would have been reduced using the proposed algorithm. Yeah, so this table tabulates the simulation results for the cost calculation for the implementation of the UPFC using this GAPS approach. So it has been found out that the total increase in the load from 3 megawatt up to 5.5, and for this the loss during the load condition has been tabulated from 11 point this up to this 11.37, and for this decrease in the loss has been found out to be 20.32% up to that of the 23.48%, and for this the cost of installation has been tabulated as given in the table. Yeah, so this finally shows the comparison of the percentage reduction in the loss using GA, PSO and that of the hybrid GA PSO. So from this table it has been observed that the percentage reduction in the loss using hybrid GA PSO has been optimized, or to be very precise, reduction has been increased, so that it indicates that the losses have been reduced to a very large extent, or we can say that it almost saves 17 to 20% of the losses which may occur when UPFC has not been placed into the system. This is the comparative chart representation in the this form, that it indicates that using this hybrid GAPSO, the losses have been increased to a maximum value, that the same would have been to the 12.64 without this using the GA. This one would have been equal to that of this using PSO, and the same have been improved to 20.488 using that of the hybrid GAPSO. These are the results for the comparison in the voltage profile at bus number 25 using the best value that has been obtained using the voltage at bus number 25 using GA, using PSO, and that using that of the hybrid GA PSO. The same results have been shown using the bar chart. The bar chart indicate that this voltage at the bus number 25 that has been maintained to a constant voltage profile using that of the hybrid GA PSO, and this indicates the results to be optimistic. So finally I can conclude that using all this hybrid GAPSO, it minimizes the transmission loss. Up to 17 to 20% of the losses can be reduced for the total transmission loss. A mathematical model for the optimal reactive power dispatch is designed by the simultaneously placing optimal placement and capacity calculation of the UPFC. Power loss optimization in order to maximize the system loadability has been done. Then a multi-objective hybrid computational intelligence approach has been used, which is found out to be effective as compared to that of the other methods. It also gives the values of the real and the reactive power to be injected by the series voltage source of that of the UPFC. Again we can say that when it minimizes the transmission losses, it eliminates the erection of the new transmission system. It demonstrates basically again the benefits of the FACTS technology, and that this scheme can be implemented into the existing system in India. The outcomes are the UPFC installed anywhere into the test system considered can increase the power carrying capability of the IEEE 30 bus system and that of the 14 bus system. Also, the various locations, it has been observed that the line number 6, the line connected in between bus number 6 and 7 is found out to be most optimal for the placement of the UPFC, when the bus number 21 and bus number 25 they are subjected to the various load conditions. Then installation of this FACTS device would reduce the transmission losses to a great extent, and also the voltages are maintained within the specified limit. The future scope could be the load scheduling aspect is not considered for the analysis, so the installation of the UPFC in the location recommended for this from this point of view. Then the FACTS devices are expensive compared to that of the conventional one, therefore the further analysis should be carried out for the profits and benefits. Then seek the co-funding for the project, because already we know the FACTS devices being very costly, so without the funding it is just impossible. These are my publications. This is at the under the SCR journal. It is in the review process. Then these are published at the international journal. The 3 papers I have published with the international journals, and 2 publications that have been done at the international conference, out of which one is present on the IEEE Explorer. These are the references which I have referred. These are the appendices for IEEE 30 bus system and the 14 bus system. Thank you.
So, what is the main objective for placing this UPFC?
Main objective is the loss minimization.
Loss.
Yeah. And the voltage deviation.
So, which loss?
Total transmission loss.
That means I square L loss to the transmission system.
Yeah.
So, for that you can increase the transmission voltage by the UPFC. If I keep on increasing the transmission voltage level, the loss will come down, no? For the same power.
But when the voltages have been increased to this...
you have just mentioned, no, that you can go up to EHV, extra high voltage. So why to go for UPFC there? You can increase the voltage level and then you can reduce the loss.
But basically it is found to be the most versatile device for the...
So what is the main objective of fax, for putting a fax device in a transmission line?
It is again to minimize the transmission loss and maintain the
Transmission loss.
Means to have the optimal power flow through the system.
Optimal power flow. So
Yeah.
what do you mean by optimal power flow?
Optimal power flow means we want to regulate this power flow through the system by having the control over this, all the controlling parameters. Again, they have to be set within the desired limits.
Yeah, so actually, see, with fax, what we are trying to achieve is that to load the transmission line to its thermal limit.
Yeah.
So if you load the transmission line to its thermal limit by putting a fax device, then the thing is that you are getting the maximum loss.
Yes.
I square loss.
Yes.
So you are trying to minimize that loss. So that means
Yes.
what is going to happen? You will be transmitting less amount of power. So there is some mismatching. So can you go to slide number 17? Or 18. Right. See here, if you just note that with TCSC and with TCSC capacity, see there is hardly any difference in the power flow.
Sir, but it matters much when it comes to the megawatt value. No? It
So
matters.
the percentage wise. Go to the next slide.
It is in megawatt.
Yeah, so see 20.7, 21.5, 20.5. So percentage wise there is hardly any difference.
But when it comes to megawatts, sir, it
No,
matters
so
much.
fine, megawatt is fine, but see one has to look at the per unit value of change. So there is hardly any change without TCSC and with TCSC. Right? There has to be a substantial change to the power flow from one end of the line of bus to the other end of the bus. Right? If you see the percentage, there is hardly any change.
So
Not
that
from 20.7, it has come down to 20.5.
Sir, here the results they would be because I have not considered this optimal value of this TCSC. Means
No,
XTCSC. This is randomly I have chosen the value of this XTCSC.
No, whatever you choose, see you are XTCSC, whatever you are choosing, you are actually placing a capacitor in series with the line. If you put a capacitor in series with the line, so that means what is going to happen is that the denominator is reducing.
So basically we are having the combination of the reactor, this capacitor and the inductor both, no? So XLC would be there, who is a parallel combination
so
of
you are
this.
getting minus XTCSC.
Minus means it is the capacity mode.
Capacity mode.
When it
So
is more capacity.
So when it is capacity mode, your denominator has reduced. Into V1, into V2, or Vs into Vr divided by X. So the X has reduced, so your power flow has to increase. Whereas here it is reduced from 20.7 to 20.5. Right? So there is somewhere something is amiss. Right? So that you just check about it. And
Sir, I'll do the calculations once again, sir, for this.
No, so that is one issue. Second issue is that see, the people who actually go for fax just to increase the amount of power that can be transmitted over a transmission line. Whereas here you are trying to reduce the losses. So actually Nobody
Sir,
wants to go
actually, I have already told that when the system is subjected to the various overload conditions, so to cope up with this overload conditions, we say the existing transmission systems to be operated towards the thermal limit and the stability limit.
Yeah, so-
so in order to avoid this, we say we have to erect the new transmission system. So erection of the new transmission system again would be costlier one as compared to that of the
So
installation.
most likely what you are doing is that in order to reduce the losses, you are not exerting your transmission line to its thermal limit, and in the
Yeah.
process,
Yeah.
even after putting your FX devices, you are actually transmitting less amount of power that could have been transmitted with the same fax device.
Sir, actually the line which is heavily loaded,
No, it is not loaded. No, that's why you are reducing the losses. Right? Suppose a line is loaded for 1 kiloamps. Right? And the loss is say some 1 megawatt.
Yeah.
Now you have reduced the loading of the line from 1 kiloamps to 5, so let's say 0.5 kiloamps. So the losses will come down by 75%.
Yeah.
Right? But then in doing so, what you are actually losing is that the amount of power that you are now transmitting is much less. So the
No,
whole point.
sir, losses have been reduced, sir.
No,
The
no,
power
so in
flow
order
would
to
have been
reduce-
same.
In order to reduce loss, now the current that is being carried by the transmission line has been reduced.
Yeah.
And in the process, the power that you could have transmitted has reduced. So that is actually what is being shown over here. Here, even with placing that series capacitor in series with the transmission line, your power that is being transmitted has not increased. Right? And as you have not increased the power, so your losses have been come down. So that is not the objective of putting fax devices. The objective of the fax devices is that your transmission lines will operate at its thermal limit.
Yeah.
At the same time, you will be transmitting the maximum amount of power.
Yeah.
That objective is not being achieved here. Right?
Sir, this is basically for the load flow analysis. It is not for the optimal load flow.
Whatever.
It gives only
Right.
load flow. It's not
Whatever.
optimal one. These
Yeah.
values whichever I have achieved, they are not the optimal
That's
one.
okay, but ultimately the objective there has to be a clear-cut objective, no? So your objective is that to reduce the transmission losses, but that is not the objective of putting fax devices. The main objective of fax devices is that to load the transmission line to its thermal limit and at the same time to transmit maximum possible amount of power from one bus to the other bus. So just check that whether these are being achieved or not.
Sir, it is achieved, sir. When we increase this load, means existing load, and into this, when the increase in the load is equal to.
It's just showing other tables after this. Even for your this optimized thing, no? There also the same thing is there, that the transmission line power is not increasing. Because your main objective is to reducing the losses.
Just,
Right.
yeah.
Right, so if you see that there is an increase, the power flow, that is the percentage wise the power flow has not increased, even after putting the UPFC. Right? In a theoretical case, if it is a two-bus system and if you place place an UPFC at the middle of the line, the power flow, the power that you can transmit to the same transmission line with the same losses should be doubled.
Okay, right.
But here you are not achieving that.
Sir, actually that power I have not shown over here, sir.
The
This
power
is-
flow increased load megawatt, no? 2.91 to 3.82.
This is there.
And-
So this is the
and-
load, and this is the power that has been injected by the power line carriers, this of UPFC, who have to be injected in
No,
bus
this,
and bus.
what is that load? Load means that the power which is being flowing to the line. From one bus to the other bus.
It is at the particular bus, load bus.
So that means you are trying to transmit that amount of power
Yes.
in the presence of the UPFC. But note that as you are trying to keep the loss same, total loss, in the process what you are doing is that you are under replacing the whole these fax devices which you are employing.
So losses we have reduced means we are optimizing the power flow, no sir?
No, actually the thing is that see that is the problem that I am trying to impress upon you. See, by putting UPFC or by putting fax devices, this loss reduction in loss is not the objective. The objective is that to
Optimize the power flow.
not optimize, within the same corridor, to the same transmission line, we should be able to transmit as much as power possible.
Yeah.
So that objective is not being fulfilled. You just check
Yes, sir.
and try to rectify that problem.
Yes.
Instead of optimizing on the loss in the transmission. Nobody talks about the loss because loss can be always handled by increasing the transmission line voltage, and that has already been has become saturated. Right? VHB 765 kilovolt. After that, not much improvement will be there. Right? That is not the issue. The issue is that with that at that transmission line voltage level, without increasing at that level of loss, while you are loading the transmission line at its thermal limit, how much power, how much maximum power, or the whatever power you can transmit to the same corridor. That is the whole issue. By employing fax devices. And there you can do the optimization that where to place the fax devices, right? How many fax devices, in which bus. So that load flow analysis we are trying to do. But there is something amiss so far as the objective function that you have chosen. That means the whole objective you are trying to reduce the loss in the transmission system. That should not be the case. Your objective should have been that how to maximize the power flow in the bus. So just take a look at it properly and then